Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Michelle, please call the roll.
Councilman Alvarez,
Present.
Councilman Cypress,
Here.
Councilman Larka,
Here.
Councilman O'Connor, absent, Supervisor Hay, absent.
Unfortunately, Supervisor Hay is under the weather, so he won't be able to make tonight's meeting. He sends his regrets. Notation of the exits in the rear, over here to the right, and in the front to the right. Please remember to turn off all cell phones or put them on vibrate. I'll make a motion that we open the work session for tonight.
Second.
All right, first item up for business is discussion, special districts update. So Rodney Brown is here to speak on that. And my understanding is, aside from the discussion tonight, once the bills go out, it will definitely explain the costs, to the residents and whatnot, so.
Right, there's
All right.
an annual letter that goes out mid-January, end of January, and that's generally when they have the rate increases, and that's the letter that's going to go out and tell you specifically. We have numbers here, because I know there's people interested in what numbers are what. It was sent to the board. Now, I apologize, Tony had said something about backup. I didn't realize you needed something of this nature for the agenda. Is that possible?
Did he put it? It wasn't in the agenda?
No. Well, I have a
Well,
copy.
me talking about it was in the agenda, but he wanted backup. I wanted to be a little more clear about that.
I can make copies after.
Okay, all right. All right, well, all the board members, you have received this, yeah?
Yes.
In an email, that is an attachment?
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah, okay. On there, I'm just gonna go down through the districts that are gonna go to the metering, and I'll explain the other ones that aren't. But Blackberry Homes, the old rate was $136. That's per quarter. That's not with any additional usage. This rate for 2024 is gonna be a fixed fee of $30 and a rate of 1 cent a gallon, and you're gonna pay for every gallon. Brewster Heights Homes, $345 was the old rate. The fixed fee is $235, and a gallon per, the rate per gallon is 1 cent. Fox Hill, your old rate was $425. The fixed fee in your case is $290, and you pay a penny and a quarter per gallon. Hillcrest, old rate was $205. The fixed fee is $100, and it's a penny a gallon. Mountain Brook, you have $388 as the old rate. The fixed fee for Mountain Brook is $280, and they're going to be paying a penny and a quarter per gallon. Spring House, $775. Your fixed fee is going to be $670, and you're also going to be paying a penny a gallon. Star Ridge, $251 is your old rate. $135 is the fixed fee, and it's a penny a gallon for there. Now, Eagles Ridge has 24 metered units, but we've been trying to figure out. They have very low usage. Some of them are cubic feet instead of gallon meters. We're trying to get all that squared up, and we have a sheet. What we've done is we've gone out and left door hangers and anything necessary, trying to get into the houses to take a look at the meters. And in different areas, we've not gotten response. And I don't foresee that happening in the next week or two. Additionally, we were told that it would take 4 weeks to get new meters, and now we're just told it's going to take us 8 weeks because of some supply issue. And I'm sure you've heard that before. So Eagles Ridge, the metered people at Eagles Ridge are going to still stay at the $321 a quarter. And, well, no, I'm sorry, that's their old rate. We're asking for an increase of 3% to $330 a quarter. Okay, Peaceable. There again, they're in cubic foot meters, but we're finding that some of the meters are possibly gallon meters because we got people out there using 35,000 gallons, which in cubic, at 35,000 cubic cubic feet of water, that would be close to 250,000 gallons of water, and it's just not possible. So we got to look into how they got gallon meters when they should be cubic. So, Peaceable 2024, we're asking for a 3% rate increase to $4.78 a quarter, and they'd stay at the same rate per gallon. Now, the two districts, like I mentioned, they need further research and inspection before we move towards a metered solution. We have no more meters. We found that we had a lot of broken meters out there. We have no more in inventory, and I said 6 weeks. I'm hoping it's going to be 4, but we have no more meters, and that's the bottom line. Birch Hill, they have no meters. They're going to stay at $400 a quarterly rate. Blackberry condos, they have no meters. They're at 121. They're staying at that rate. Eagles Ridge, non-metered, $359 per quarter. They have no meters. Again, they're going to stay the same. So, any questions?
I have a few questions, Rob.
Sure.
Somebody called me today, and I guess there was a letter that went out a while ago about Brewster Heights and the oxidation ditch being replaced, and that it was going to be a significant expense. So he wanted me just to bring that up and. What? That's the sewer. I think when we went and toured the plan, I think that's the oval track it almost looked like, where the stuff was going around in this.
Yeah,
circle.
that's the oxy disc, but who said it's being replaced?
There was a letter that went to the district,
Do you know
major
who's?
capital expense for 2023, 2024. It said that there's cracking, blah, 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 it needs to be replaced, and that it would be $90,000 to $220,000.
I have not received that letter.
Nope.
I did
He
not
just sent me a picture of it this evening, so I could forward it to you and maybe.
Yeah, I have not received that, nor did I send it.
I went out there with Nick and Durante. Nick, the operator, was
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and he pointed out some cracks and stuff, but he didn't seem like it was a
No, actually,
urgent repair. or
what's
anything.
getting replaced there, and this is in the micro building, those are the membranes.
Okay.
And that is that's been talked about, and we're going forward in January. That's in conjunction with the New York City DEP.
Okay.
Because it's a micro, they pay some costs, they pay 100%, other ones they pay portions.
Okay.
So,
This may have been older. I was looking to the future, so I'll send this to you. I didn't get a chance to read through the whole thing, but it sounds like it's not a major upcoming expense.
no, the
Okay.
actually this is fine, yeah. No.
For the ones that we're still waiting on meters for, when we get the meters, will their bills then change to this new process or this new?
If they're in the district that's being metered, yes. What we try to do is we try to get everybody that was in, that we're going forward with the metering. Okay, so there's the Peaceable and the Eagles Ridge were just not in the cards. 22 of them might have been changed, and we just don't have those meters. They'll get charged what they were always getting. They would be at the 2023 rate.
Okay.
But
And
So
the-
another-
Your question is for the whole year, or when they get meters, will
yeah,
they change?
if you get the meters in June, is their third quarter bill going to be metered then?
Not in Eagles Ridge, but interestingly enough, let's just say we're going to Blackberry Homes. We're going metering, and this is going to be a catch-up kind of. We could have a meter break on January 5th. We could get a reading from it. They would have accumulated some water. Having broke, we would not know that till the next quarter when it's zero. So there's going to be kind of we're gonna work with the accounting department. We're gonna look historically what those guys used as a customer. There's not a lot of them.
Right.
And then base their bill on that. It's gonna be based historically.
Rod, I
And
think
then when it gets changed, they'll be in fold with the rest of the people with meters. But in a situation like Eagles Ridge, where there's the meters, it's just all messed up in there. Until we get them all squared up, we don't wanna, pick and choose who we're gonna do. We're looking at ones that may possibly break and ones that are, known to be bad that we had to get changed out, so.
in Eagles Ridge, if you get all 24 homes metered during the year, will you change the rate, or will it be the same all year?
It's gonna stay the same. 2020, what I'm suggesting is that we stay with, this here, the sheet here, and it says
entire
that
year.
for the entire year. You don't get much of a shot at this. You got 4 times that they get billed. And that's a large problem is if the meter breaks, say, we're gonna do a reading in the end of March, right? Because it's first quarter. And the meter's fine, it breaks the last week of March. Because you don't know when the meter's gonna break. The next quarter, we think the meter's fine, we bill them for the first quarter, but now it says 0. So what do you base that bill on the second quarter? Because it broke in the last week of March, so now it's gone into the next quarter. It's not racking up numbers because it's broke. So we have to historically go back and look at what they did as a consumer and base their rate on that, and then we'll catch up on the next one.
Okay. For Eagles Ridge, the clubhouse, I think when we looked it up, they weren't being billed. And I assume they'll be billed in I don't know if there's a meter there, but with the pool, they should be paying, I'd assume.
Well, Eagles Ridge, there's only 24, and none of them's the clubhouse. And the same with the person that was here the last time with the spigot.
Yep.
The design of their development, whoever designed it said, okay, the condo, the house in the middle gets the spigot and everybody uses it, but none of that water's metered.
Right.
So it's not like anybody's using anybody's water.
Okay.
And you saw there was an estimate out there as to what roughly it would cost to put meters in for those 114 units. It's probably close to $200,000, so.
These rates are, I assume, like we had discussed, I don't see the math behind these, but you were going to try to peg the average use would be kind of flat to what these rates are calculating to? Is that a fair
Yeah,
statement?
we took accounting department, I don't have all the registers, billing registers, that shows consumption and cost or expense, right? So what happened is Ron in accounting had 2 years, I'm sure he's got more billing, but he took all those billing registers and we figured out what an average user would use.
Right.
Now I'm hoping there's a certain amount of conservation goes on here, which would leave us in the red.
Right.
So we applied a percentage to it to decrement the average in the hopes that people conserve and the average goes down. And then we took that average number, we got a number from Ron and myself looking at the general ledger as to what the fixed cost was gonna be, and then had to bring up the remaining amount of money through the per rate gallon. So that's how.
So, because when these bills go out, we know people are gonna be upset typically, or at least you hear from the people that are upset. And I just want to know, and I think you're agreeing with this, the way this is calculated, average user bill should be in the ballpark of what it is.
Yeah, $2 one way or the other.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
Okay, that's fair.
The people that have been paying with low usage, they've been paying the high rate, the standard rate, and they're using 1,000 gallons a quarter. They're going to be ecstatic
Yeah.
because their bill is going to, we're hoping everybody wants to go in that direction and conserves water, saves our plants, it saves our sewer plants, it saves not as much chemicals, not as much, it's just better all around.
Okay, and one last question. When do these bills go out, and or letters, and I guess, can you plan on being at the meeting after that?
Listen, I'm open to any of these meetings. I don't have a problem with any of it. I just feel, this is maybe an aside, but I send out stuff, I get no comment one way or the other. I don't know, I'm just out there floundering, right? I didn't hear from anybody from the letters I sent last week and this week, okay? And then I come in here, and I don't know if anybody's actually looked at this. I don't know if anybody's read the letter. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll be happy to come to anything, but first off, what should happen is if these are agreed upon as the rates, we should sit down and get the annual letter together, which would then describe it. You can weigh in on it and figure it. Don't say it this way, say it that way. 6 of one, half dozen of me. And then we send that out in January. And then their bill actually comes out at the end of, it's probably going to be April, right? So now you could also post a letter in there saying specifically on your statement, this is how you see this now. I don't know, that's what I would do.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair. So the,
But I need some input, like, here's what I think. Any comments? And then, it's crickets.
yeah,
I know everybody's busy, the holidays, I get it. But I have no problem. I will not be around, I think it's the 11th to the 20th. There's like 3 or 4 days I would have been at Southeast during that period.
so this is gonna go out like in December or January?
I'm sorry?
The letter will
They
go
go
out in
out-
January?
They go out, I think it was like January 26th. That's the letter that's,
Explain it.
well, that's the letter that set everybody off last year.
Right, okay.
Okay, so I think it was January 26th or something.
Okay, so maybe the first week of February, depending on how that goes over.
No, it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We should be able to get a letter together.
No, I'm saying maybe we can just be prepared for people to want to discuss it in that first week in February, is what I'm saying.
Oh, that's fine. I was going to look back at the board meetings and see, actually I could look at my journal and see when I came to the first one where we had to try and, that was another one. We all got blindsided by that, yeah? I mean, I didn't send a letter. It was news to me, and but it was definitely needed because of the way in which those districts were headed. They're
Yeah.
all going in the red.
Okay, that answers my question, thank you.
That it? Mr. Alvarez?
Questions from me? Eric?
Mr. Cypress?
No, sir.
You good, Michelle? Will? We're all good? All right.
All right. Thank
Mr.
you,
Alvarez, I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You have a Merry Christmas.
My pleasure. Merry Christmas to
You see
and
Mr.
family.
Connor, tell him the same.
will.
I should see Tony, but it's a shame he didn't make his last board meeting.
All
But
right. Thank you again.
you two will be seeing, right? All
You're
right.
stuck with the Erics.
Have you heard from Kathleen?
Who?
Brewster?
Oh, no, she never called. I know the water's been cleaned, so.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Rob.
All right. Next agenda item is Highway Department vehicle purchases. Mike?
Good evening.
Evening.
You're all aware of the struggles that we have with the equipment purchases and how long it takes to get the vehicles and everything. So it's just I want to get approval to move forward with ordering some equipment. We'll order it in the 2024 calendar year, and not really sure when we'll get it. But the issue is we can lock in at pricing. We can lock in pricing now. So it's, prices keep going up, supply chain issues keep hitting us. What I am doing though is since we went to straight salt, we've been working very hard with trying to reduce our salt consumption. By reducing our salt consumption, it's actually reducing the size of the vehicles that I need. So these, the big plow trucks, they're upwards of up near $300,000 to purchase a new one, and they actually have a mid-size truck now that you can buy 2 for the price of 1, and it'll do the same job. It's just that we're carrying a lot less material now because we're using a lot less salt, so we're carrying less material, so we don't need that big truck. So we're going to be able to about a third of our fleet, we're gonna be able to go down to a medium-sized truck, which is gonna save considerable money when it comes for purchasing these vehicles.
Mike, the new vehicles, they're all under state bid, or how's
Yeah,
that work?
yeah, they're all state contract. They either on state contract or it goes out to, the New York State procurement process now has what they call a mini bid. So you put the spec together and then you send the bid out to the dealers. And then the New York State actually, they approve the bid. So, but most of the vehicles are on state contract.
Well, thank you. You always do a great job of, trying to maintain the fleet and get things
Yeah.
at great pricing, so
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Got a couple
Did an
other,
excellent job.
just a couple other things that I wanted to discuss briefly is, been working on the GIS mapping. We used to have a system which shows all our infrastructure, catch basins and everything. A lot of these programs now, they have many layers, so we could do the highway infrastructure. Then you have the water district where you can track all your fire hydrants and water shutoffs, actually locate those on GIS mapping. And then also the sewer district. And then also a lot of these programs now, the building department can, they have inspection forms and things like that, so we can do a lot more stuff electronically and digitally. One of the things is when we go for the MS4 stuff, we need to keep track of all the catch basins that we clean and so on. Well, now it's a lot of these other towns, it's done with an iPad. The guy goes out, with the catch basin machine, he cleans the catch basin. It comes up on the iPad what number catch basin it is, and at the end of the year, you push print, and it prints out a whole, it'll print out a whole report that we could submit for the MS4. So, but like everything else, there's a cost involved. There's an initial cost to set this up, and then there's also licensing fees that you pay annually. But, we can probably, if we can get, I know I spoke briefly with Rodney about it, and, he was interested in it for, locating, water shutoffs and things like that, and then hydrants and all that, and then also the sewer district. So if we get all the departments involved, each department would contribute a little bit towards its licensing fees, which would, end up being more cost effective.
So Mike, we have something, in building and planning, code enforcement, we have GIS mapping and iPads and stuff. Is this, could we add a highway module to that, or you're looking at something completely standalone?
Well, I'm not sure what, you see, this is, we had a separate thing that had, the highway department had just their catch basins and outfalls and so on it. So I've been looking into that, and I'm not sure what the code enforcement guys have. I'm not familiar with what they're, if they already have a system, we may be able to add highway onto that, and then it would just, if they're paying a licensing fee per year, obviously it's more than likely the same kind of system that we may be able to, add highway to it, depending on what system they have.
Right.
If they have, any of this GIS mapping stuff, all these companies are all the same, they all offer the same services. If the code enforcement, the building department has a system like that in place already, then I'm sure we could, that we may be able to expand on that and add these, the other departments onto it.
Okay.
So to Eric's point, Municity, I just pulled it up, it uses the GIS, and they have tablets.
Okay.
And I think we're gonna get a demo from them in early January to look at expansion on the building department side, so maybe you could sit in on that and we could discuss.
Yeah, absolutely, because, if this is, if this is one of the programs, the biggest issue is, I'm sure that the town of Southeast, would end up paying its own licensing fee, so we would own that data that's in there, and it would not, you could still get it, because like we have all the shape files from all the previous work that was done. You know, so to convert it into another system is not gonna be that difficult, because we have all the information, you know, because we've already had all our catch basins located. That was already done one time.
Okay.
And then under the previous administration, it just kind of, you know, went by the wayside, and none of it was being used. So we ended up canceling that, you know, because they ended up canceling it because it wasn't being, you know, it wasn't being utilized.
Yeah, I think in January, we could probably see if we could accommodate you in.
Well, yeah,
what we already have.
if the you know, the building department has a system already, we may be able to get in and then expand on that system, which would be great. And then, you know, they're all separate, you know, they end up being, it's under the same system, but it's just different layers of the map. You know, that's all they do, is they just have different layers that they put in it.
Does the county highway do anything like that?
The county they have a system also. You know, they have a GIS system. You know, almost every town, all the counties have them. You know, and some of the towns piggyback off of the county, and then, you know, some of the towns, I know Somers has their own. You know, they do it, and they also use it for cost tracking. You know, when they send out to do catch basin repairs and things like that, the salaries are loaded in, the material costs are loaded in, so when they go to do the job, everything is broken down, you know, how many hours they were on the job, so they also use that as a cost tracking, you know, information for the end of the year, for, you know, see where your money's going.
Any more questions?
I had one
Anything
other,
else?
thanks for walking Sunset Ridge with us. That was really helpful, and I think we had talked about, or maybe it was Volunteer Park. You needed approval to put some of the sewer line in or something like that?
Yeah, I started the process of getting the material list together to hook up the sewers at Volunteer Park. So I want to know, I didn't want to order any of the material until we have approval, so what I need to know is if that's going to go forward, I'll get the updated cost, you know, the updated pricing, because this was done back in July. So I'll send this back out and I'll get the updated pricing, so, you know, January's meeting, we'll know how much it's going to cost for the material, and then we can, because it's probably a 6 to 8 week lead time for them to build the sewer manholes and so on that we need to install that. That would give us, if we order it early enough, we'll, you know, the end of March, we'll be able to start installing the sewer lines up there. The water lines are all in. It's just the electric needs to be hooked up. So, you know, by the time baseball season rolls around, we should be able to have operating bathrooms and water up there.
I'd like you to move forward and getting the numbers.
All right, yeah, I'll get the numbers together and I'll have them for the January, I'll send them to you so we have it for the January meeting to get it approval.
Awesome.
All right?
Good.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
These items will be placed on the next agenda in January, January 25th. Okay. All right, that concludes the work session. I'll make a motion to go into the regular meeting.
Second?
All right, first item is correspondence. I'll waive the reading.
Second.
Second. Approval of the voucher list is $1,035,658.99. Have a second?
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Budget transfers, waive the reading.
Second.
All right. Setting of the meeting dates and public hearings. All public hearings, all meetings will be held at 1360 Route 22, Brewster, New York, at 7 p.m. unless otherwise noted. Thursday, January 4th, 2024, that will be the organizational meeting. Thursday, January 25th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Number 5, motion to set a public hearing, Twin Oaks Ventures special permit. That would be scheduled for Thursday, January 25th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda item number 6, resolution for Pro Swing Realty, AKA Brewster Yards, establishing a performance bond. Okay. Okay. Now therefore be it resolved that the bond amount shall be established for the project set forth below. Project name, Brewster Yard Site Plan. Bond amount, site improvements, $22,240,000. Soil and erosion, $666,000. And be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution shall be transmitted by the town clerk to the planning board secretary forthwith. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, aye. 3-0. Agenda item number 7. Pro Swing Realty, AKA Brewster Yards, resolution establishing performance bond for the town highway improvements. Now therefore be it resolved that the bond amount shall be established for the project set forth below. Project name, Zimmer Road Improvements. Bond amount, site improvements, $561,000. Soil and erosion, $22,000. And be it further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution shall be transmitted by the town clerk to the planning board secretary forthwith.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Agenda item number 8. New York City DEC Freshwater Wetlands Grant, Star Ridge Manor Civic Association, Peach Brook Improvement. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to make and file any and all letters of intent, applications, agreements, or other documents with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for the purpose of assessing $100,000 in grant funds to be used in connection with stream improvements and be made by the Star Ridge Manor Civic Association, and to distribute such funds to pay expenses incurred in connection with such improvements, and be it further resolved that any and all actions heretofore taken in this regard are hereby ratified and confirmed nunc pro tunc.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, Bradley.
I'd like to take a few minutes to give you an update on what's happening, if that's okay.
Okay. Pictures looked great.
Sorry?
The pictures looked great.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we started out with $150,000 in money from Putnam County in ARPA and sales tax revenue that was put in by former executive Mary Ellen Odell. So work started using that money. Let's see, that was 8 weeks ago, I think it was on end of October. So they did 27 days of clean out work. That ended on Friday, December 8th. And that was, used up basically, all of that $150,000. And that work was done by New England Aquatic Services. We also hired Little Bear Environmental Consulting to keep an eye on things. So starting on December 11th, picked right up, we are now on the $100,000 that's coming from New York State DEC. That was from a line item in the New York State budget that Senator Peter Harkin put in there. So their last day of work for this year is tomorrow. So they'll have worked 8 days on that money, and that leaves 10 days approximately to resume the work in the spring. So far the project's been very successful. More than 2/3 of the brook has been cleaned out. There's been a significant increase in the water flow, and the lake has been lowered to a safe level. So we just had this big rainstorm that caused flooding all over the place. Peach Lake had no flooding problem. So it's been a success in that way. We have the amount of water flowing in the brook is about 3 times faster now than it had been before. So in conclusion, I'd just like to, unfortunately Tony Hay is not here tonight. I'd just like to thank him for all his help on this. This has been a great public, community project, a lot of cooperation, and he just was there all the time to make that happen. And also Christine Dubois got the DEC money just in time. literally stopped the other money on a Friday and picked up on the Monday, so that was great. Any questions that anyone has?
Yes, thank you for the update, and thank you for all your work that you've done on this.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks, Bradley.
All right, we'll continue with the meeting. Agenda item number 9 is request for special permit amendment, Splash Car Wash. This one's a little bit long. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast hereby makes the following findings of fact in connection with the instant application. 1, the proposed use is in such location and a size and character that it will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the surrounding district and will not be detrimental to the immediate site or adjacent properties, provided appropriate conditions and restrictions are made a part of the grant of a special permit. 2, the location and size of the proposed use, the nature and intensity of operations involved in or conducted in connection therewith, its site layout, and relation to access streets will be such that both pedestrian and vehicular traffic to and from the use and the assembly of persons in connection therewith will not be hazardous, provided appropriate conditions and restrictions are made a part of the grant of a special permit. 3, the exterior appearance of the building will not hinder or discourage the development and use of adjacent land and buildings, provided all reviews provided that the guidelines and recommendations of the Planning and Architectural Review Board are incorporated in the final approval. And 4, the proposed use will not require such additional public facilities or services to create fiscal burdens upon the town greater than those which characterize uses permitted as of right. And be it further resolved that based upon the foregoing findings, the town board of the town of Southeast hereby incorporates the special use permit granted by resolution 28/2000 for the subject premises herein and hereby grants an amended special use permit to the subject premises as follows. Condition number 2, so much of condition number 2 is amended to allow the owner/operator to employ self-service vacuum stations for its customers. The number of such self-service vacuum stations shall be determined by and shall not exceed the total of stations approved by the planning board. Condition 4, so much of condition number 4 is amended to permit the color scheme of the subject premises to which it has been currently changed to remain provided. However, that the roof of the subject premises shall be repainted or replaced with a more, begin parentheses, earth tone and quotations, color as approved by the Southeast Planning/Architectural Review Board. And be it further resolved that an additional condition is hereby added to the special use permit to provide that no storage or repair of motor vehicles or equipment on the site outside of the repair bays and the use of impact wrenches or other power tools that make noise shall be limited to the inside of the facility with the repair bay doors closed. Resolved that any and all violations of the terms and conditions of the special use permit and the special use permit as amended hereby or of the project development plan shall be immediately abated upon notice to the developer. Failure to abate any such violation or violations properly and fully shall result in the immediate issuance of processing local criminal court, resulting in the potential imposition of fines and other penalties as set forth in the zoning and building codes of the town of Southeast. In addition, failure to abate any such violation shall be considered a nuisance and will result in the filing of process seeking civil and equitable, and in parentheses, injunctive relief, including but not limited to an order revoking the grant of special permit and revocation of any certificates of occupancy issued in reliance thereon. And be it further resolved that the planning board is authorized and directed to continue its review of the project development plan for Splash Car Wash Southeast LLC, incorporating the conditions of this amended special use permit in any resolution granting final project development plan approval it may ultimately adopt in connection with this project. In addition, the planning board is authorized and encouraged to impose any and all additional measures deemed necessary and appropriate to mitigate perceived impacts of the proposed special permit use upon adjoining properties, including but not limited to requiring appropriate fencing or screening to further minimize the visual and audio impact of the use on adjoining residential properties, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to forward a certified copy of this resolution to NNN REIT LP, owner of the subject premises, Splash Car Wash Southeast LLC, operator of the subject premises, the secretary of the town of Southeast Planning Board, and to the building inspector of the town of Southeast forthwith.
Second.
Discussion?
Could you repeat that, Ed?
Willis, you want to read? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Last item of the agenda is the supervisor's report. Tony said, just to basically say that he stayed within the limits of the budget. We're not out of whack, and that the hope is, of course, to maintain and do the same thing next year.
Can I read something into the record before we go to the public?
Sure.
Okay. There are many changes happening to the town board next year. As this will be our last meeting this year, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge some of those who will be moving on. Michelle, our town clerk, whose kind and friendly demeanor with our residents has created a welcoming community vibe. Thank you for keeping everything running smoothly. To John and Edwin for their dedicated service on the town board. Their input has been key ingredient to our community's success, and your contributions are truly valued. And last but not least, Tony, for steering our town from near bankruptcy to financially sound footing. He leaves us with the tools and resources to continually improve our community while staying fiscally responsible. And our town is better because of all of you. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Recognition of the public? Please.
Good evening, Scott Seaman, town of Southeast. Happy holidays to all. I also wanted to thank Supervisor Hay, Councilman Alvarez, Councilman O'Connor, and our town clerk, Mr. Ncati, for their service, and we wish you best, and on any future endeavors, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else from the public? That is recognition of the town board. And I'll read a statement. It'll be brief. I too just wanted to thank the residents of Southeast for having the faith and confidence to have supported me for the last 12 years. It's been an absolute pleasure and privilege to represent all of you, and I'm truly humbled. My only goal and objective was to make Southeast a better place for all of us and to leave it in better shape than when I took office. I have been fortunate to work with some amazing individuals, both professionally and personally, during my tenure, and for that I'm grateful. I too would like to thank Tony and my fellow town board members, Michelle and Willis, for their leadership, their guidance, their support, their contributions, and their service as well. I know I'm leaving the town board in good hands with the new board coming in, so Nick, Wendy, Alex, and Kathy, congratulations again, and I wish you nothing but success. And happy holidays to everybody, and for those who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you. Anyone else?
Make a motion to
Okay.
close?
Motion to close?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.